Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. This is an emergency video because I've had this conversation one too many times, and I think this will save a lot of people a lot of money going further when it's talking about buying switches. So, what I want to talk about is M-Gig capable switches and why you shouldn't buy them unless a certain thing is in place. So, before we get into that, let me explain what M-Gig switches are. So, M-Gig capable switches are switches. I'll just draw a little switch here and put some ports here. And this is a very ugly drawing of a switch. So what M-Gig switches do is they allow you to go from, you know, I'll just say 1 gig. 1 gig, 2.5 gigs, 5 gigs, all the way up to 10 gigs, depending on what cable you put in. And that is the aha moment, right? Usually you get to these 5 to 10 gigs when you use Cat 6A cabling, right? You don't use Cat 6A cabling, you're not going to get these speeds here. Cat 6 will give you, I believe, 2.5, or and maybe Cat 5e, Cat 6 will give you 2.5. Now, what's funny is I went to Staples and they do have adapters now for this, right? They do have network adapters that you can plug in via USB-C, and it gives you the capability of utilizing the data rate here of 2.5. Now, usually the 5 and 10, these are saved for like APs right now. So something like I'll use Meraki right now. Something like a Meraki MR like 57 or something like that, right? Can get you at least up to 5 or 10. I haven't looked at the data sheet to actually tell you if it's 5 or 10, but let's just say it's 5. Now, why do you not want to buy these type of switches? Very simple. If you don't have the correct cabling in your environment, you will never use those higher data rates, right? So let's say you have Cat 5e ran in your office. Well, guess what? You will always, no matter if you buy these type of switches, get 1 gig. It doesn't matter whatsoever. Even if you get something like an MR50 57 that's capable of doing 5, and this is where you get messed up at because you'll say, oh, it can give me 2.5 to 5 gigs, right? Well, guess what? You're only cabled up for Cat 5e, so it's never going to get there. It's always going to be 1 gig, and these switches are expensive. They're more expensive than your normal 1 gig ports. And what I see is a lot of people buying these switches, and they are pissed off when they realize, hey, we bought these switches and we can really only utilize 1 gig because we're not cabled right for this. So in the grand scheme of things, if you are going to recable your environment, then yes, the N-Gig switches make sense because you can always get it wired for Cat 6A. If you are not ever going to rewire your office or your building or whatever you want to talk about, you're not going to rewire this to use Cat 6A, why even bother with the M-Gig? Because you can't use it. You might as well just get a normal gig port switch and be done with it, right? And on top of that, even if you get this M-Gig stuff, you still have to worry about upstream. There's no point of getting an M-Gig at the access layer, but then you still have just gig only ports at like a distribution or collapse core. Makes no sense. You're bottlenecking somewhere upstream, right? Case in point, at the firewall. Well, if the firewall can only has gig ports on it, you're not going to use any. Even if you do 2.5 or 5, can't really utilize it, right? Because you have to match that maximum throughput or bandwidth. Sorry, you have to match that all the way up the stack. That means from an ISP perspective, you need to have the same capabilities as well. So if you want 5 gigs, obviously you need to be able to go 5 gigs all the way up. Now you can do some shaping depending on what firewall you get. You can do some shaping to make sure that you're not oversubscribing that, but they probably police on the other end as well. But still, there's no point in getting the M gig and I can do 2.55 and then I'm at the collapse core and that's only a gig and then the firewall is only a gig. So make sure before you buy these type of switches that you have this all set up all the way up the chain, okay? From the office wiring back to the patch panel, to the switch, to the cooler, to the firewall, to the ISP. If you do that, then getting the MGig switches makes sense. If you don't plan on doing any of that, stay far away from these things because you're just throwing away money, right? You got switches that you can't even really utilize most of the capability in terms of bandwidth and data rate and all that stuff because you are not properly cabled all the way through. So, this is Don from Padlock Technologies. If you like videos like this that keep you abreast of what you should be doing from a design standpoint and some cool technology stuff, don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Share this on your socials, especially this, because I guarantee you there's somebody right now getting ready to purchase an MGig capable switch and they can't utilize it. You could probably save them some money if you send them this video. This is Don from Padlock Technologies again. Thank you and have a nice day.